Okay, everyone, I wanted to let you know what I ended up doing with my injectors. I went ahead and took them over to my local diesel injection shop, and they went ahead and tested the injectors, and they pretty much tested like injectors that had about 300,000 miles on them. I think he said they tested about like 40 bars low, but I could be mistaken about it. But what they ended up doing for me was they took my factory injectors, which were rated for like 180, 190, something like that, and they went ahead and rebuilt them for the 215 engine. So they got a slight upgrade to them, and it was no difference in money, and I don't have to worry about changing out like the head bolts or the valve springs or anything like that. So they even let me keep the old parts. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I guess I could hang them on the wall, but they were pretty nice. They're pretty prompt. The price for where I was around, it was exactly the same price as buying a new set. The only thing that ended up being kind of weird about the whole thing was that they said that the heads of the first gens are like a 12 millimeter, whereas like 94 and above was like a 14 millimeter. So that's one reason we went with rebuilding my original ones. Because he said he was going to have a hard time ordering the 12 millimeter threads. And what he was referring to that was, he was referring to, I believe, the threads on top of the injector. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up. I've already done the others, and then we'll get these put in. Now, I took the advice of the internet, and I went ahead and put in a little dab of grease right there to hold my washer in place, my copper washer. And in regards to the copper washer, the guys said use the thicker copper washers that came in my kit. I had 3 different sizes, a thick, a medium, and a thin. Everybody on the internet says use the thin, but the guys over at the diesel injection place told me use the thick ones. So I think I'm just going to split the difference and throw the medium ones in. They tested about, let's see, like 40 thousandths of an inch. The thin ones were 20 thousandths, and the thick ones were, I believe, like 60 thousandths. So I just went with the middle ones. They say it can affect your timing, seeing that the injector will be closer to the cylinder, means the spray will reach faster, and they say it can affect your timing, but I have no idea. But we'll see if we get real itching and I get this in. We'll change them out and see what happens. I have no idea, but let's get this started. Alright, we'll take my little dust cover off there. Then I went ahead and cleaned out. I just kind of sprayed some brake clean in there. Probably kind of questionable, but I think it'll be okay. Make sure that this little ball right here is facing you. Also, if you don't know where it's at, just make sure that your return fuel is facing away from the valve covers. Set that guy in there. And you go ahead and torque these down to 44 foot-pounds. There you go. Okay, don't forget about your little dust O-ring, dust seal, whatever you want to call it. Just kind of roll that guy on there. Now they said don't use a screwdriver, but I found that I don't really have anything else. So just light taps to get that seated down in there. Alright, and that's it. That's all it really takes to go ahead and put in an injector. So we'll go ahead and we're going to plumb in our return fuel line now. We're finally putting all the pieces back together. We're really close. Let's get it popped out. Now I found out that if you do this beforehand, before putting in these little copper washers, It's best just to do it while the fuel line is loose. Don't ask me how, I just know. Alright, they're on. And it is plumbed into the return fuel line. So that leaves us with these fuel lines we need to go ahead and put on. I'm going to clean these up off camera, and then we're going to put them on. And we're going to be so much closer to being done. Okay, this is an hours and a half worth of work. And I still got one more to go. The bad thing about the whole situation is that they don't look very good after you clean them up. You take the finish off whenever you have to use I've been using a Scotch-Brite pad to take all the built-up gunk off of them. Looks like I missed the spots. Then you take the finish off and, well, you're kind of left with this. Oh well, at least it's clean. All cleaned up. Or at least as clean as I could get them. As much as time as I wanted to spend on them. So I got the first set on. I'm going to go ahead and put the second set on. Figure if I chose wisely of putting on the back side first, or if I should put on the front ones. Well, that helped out. Probably would have been better if I had an actual metric version of a crow's foot, because this one is only a 11/16. So it's probably best to go ahead and put this one on first, because this one up here in the top is really tough to get to, but the rest of them are you can get with a normal wrench. They're all tight, they're all cleaned up, they're all on. I got my bolts in. You gotta tighten those guys down, and they're all on. Went ahead and redid my valve cover bolts, got those back on. I changed out the O-rings. Changed out my O-rings because they were in pretty rough shape. So got those back on, torqued them back down to 18 foot-pounds. I also went ahead and those two that used to hold on the little cover plate, I went ahead and cut the threads off of those guys, filed them down, and then touched up with a little paint. So I put them on the back. I don't think you'll really notice all that much. But yeah, so the injectors, the valve covers, all that stuff that was on the top, it's all done. So one thing down, whole bunch more to go. Thanks for watching.